Hello and good evening to you all. Welcome and hello and a happy Easter to each and every one of you. If you are into Easter, or if not, as they said on Radio 4 this morning, if you're not into that, a happy weekend to you. That's all that can be said to people who aren't into that. So there are lots of people out there who don't celebrate Easter, but we wish you a very happy Easter from France. You see, it's not as windy today, but the palm tree is not blowing around as much. We'll wait for a few more people to come in, obviously. I'm a little bit earlier than I planned to be, but, an 8 minute to go. So, yes, happy Sunday from San Francisco, says Mel. Well, I may be coming to visit San Francisco soon. I've just been looking at a business plan about something that could be done in San Francisco, and friends of mine said, would I come and participate? And maybe I might. I love San Francisco. I used to spend a lot of time there with the horrible Maurice Canbar, who is thankfully, no longer causing havoc. But, he was a brilliant business school, Mr. Canbar. He was Mr. Skywalker. He was a huge success in San Francisco. And I used to know the lovely Jeanette Etheridge, who ran the Tosca Bar there, and all sorts of other people. San Francisco is a great place. I love the Balboa Cafe in San Francisco, for example. That's one of my delightful places. I remember spending a lot of time there, and I can't remember the name of the bar. It was on the way to the Kabuki Theatre down the hill. This lovely little bar. I used to go and sit there and have a burger, and love to have a burger there. It was great. It was a wonderful sort of long wooden bar. I can't remember the name of the place, so maybe you might remind me. There we go. Good evening to Keely, and happy Easter to you, and Audrey, and happy Easter to you, and to Paulie, happy Easter to you, and everyone else. The Sausalito houseboat community is gorgeous too, says MB. Okay, well, thank you for your tip. Yes, San Francisco is a fabulous city. It's had its problems over the years, obviously with all the homelessness and the vagrancy and all of that, but I think San Francisco is doing better now. Sorry, I should have put my cushions behind me because I'm looking like I'm sitting in a bizarre position here. Anyway, never mind. Here we go. So here we are with our program. So anyway, happy Easter to everyone. Cheers to you all. Cheers. Today has been somewhat difficult, to say the least, but most days are in this kind of situation. So anyway, we won't talk about that because the certain thing is asleep at the moment, so it's better off just to be quiet about it, because quite frankly, I don't want to talk about it, and I'm not really interested in it. And no doubt at some point during this program, someone will pipe up and interfere, but no, at the moment we haven't got to that stage, but we've had a kind of what I would call troublesome day, let's be honest. One of those. But it could have been a nice day where we could have gone and had roast lamb somewhere, but well, it wasn't going to happen. So never mind. We've been elsewhere, and I do have my notebook back. So there you go. The notebook is back. That's a story in its own right. So, anyway, there's 41 of you here. That's great. Coming in quickly, and it's not even starting kickoff, as we should call it, or whatever. I don't know. As you can see, it's getting lighter here of an evening, which is nice. But I don't know what's going to occur tomorrow, but we will see. So there we are. But no, San Francisco, I hope to be there very soon, because this project, actually, I started reading it. I've read the short version of the document, and Yeah, sounds like a great project. I've got to read the 113-page document, but I'm a bit of a speed reader, so I will read that tomorrow morning. So there we go. So even things just come across your path in life, and things can change your life. So I hope you're all having life-changing, wonderful things happening to you. So yeah, positivity is the best way forward. I'd say best, without a doubt. But no, sadly, I didn't get to have a very good lunch today. We got to a lovely bar, but um, no, there was no lunch after that. So that was the end of the matter. There we go. What would I be doing in San Francisco? It's a project that involves the arts and business and various things. A kind of private members club that could be quite a good project, but it's not my project. I've just been told about it. So, but I think that they'd like me to have some kind of involvement. So maybe that could be something interesting for the future. There we go. Did I see your question, Paulie? What was your question? Do I know about Jim Davidson? Well, yes, that's something I'll be talking about. I don't particularly like Jim Davidson, but I don't like Keir Starmer either. So, birds of a feather flock together, don't they? But I'll come to that in a short while. Yes, you need to know about this this Twitter X trend about the Prime Minister and Lord Ali. Yes, so we'll come to that. Obviously, it's a little impossible to say much because where's the evidence? But we'll come to that later when a few more people are here, because it's not even it's not even 7 o'clock in England yet, and I always begin at 7 o'clock. So, yes, okay. Any other questions whilst we're waiting? More questions, please, questions. And I have a new quiz for you. No more old quizzes. You've only got today's quiz left. So, I had to write that this morning, and I did that under duress because of the situation, and sat in the garden whilst the sun was shining. It's not shining anymore, unfortunately. But tomorrow we were meant to be going to a meeting. We're not going to the meeting. I've decided we're not going. There's no point. It's at 7:30 in the morning, and it's going to be impossible. So instead, the lovely Howard's Way couple are coming round in their boat with food and drinks, which will be very nice. They've offered to do this to cheer me up, which is very kind of them. They're decent people, these people. They're lovely people, and they feature often in our quiz because of their surname, but I'm not going to tell you what their surname is because that'd be a giveaway for the question tonight. So there we are. Have I got the contacts to locate the video? Well, we'll come to all of that. I don't know. We'll come to that topic when there are a few more people here. It's only just gone 8 o'clock, so wait for a few more. So have we, sorry, 7 o'clock. It's 8 o'clock in France, but it's 7 o'clock in England, obviously. So, yes, have you any questions for me right now? Just give me a few questions. Chuck a few questions my way. Yeah. I'm happy to answer a few. So, no, not the video. We're not going to talk about that for the moment. We'll come to that later. Patience is a virtue, and it's one you should possess, as I was always told as a child. Very patronizingly by a certain someone, but I'm not going to say who. There you go. Right. Okay. So, yes. Any questions on any other topics for the moment before we come to Fergie, who's, excelled herself again today. What a mess. She's a disaster area, that one. Absolutely appalling, isn't she? Also, the topic of Meghan, who's been busy again, being as busy as a bee, as she always is, with her honey and her this and her that and the other. She cares more about money than honey, I can tell you that. That's certainly for sure. Right. Okay. What are my thoughts on spending more money to find the missing Julia? Do you mean the missing Madeline, or do you mean Julia? Well, the missing Madeline another 100,000 spent, a total waste of money. But as my friend Peter Bexley did point out, 100,000 does not go a very long way in policing, because police officers cost, on average, 30, 40,000 pounds each. So that's the salary of two people and a bit of work. So you're not really getting much investigation for your 100,000. But equally, why should we spend 13 million of British taxpayer money on that policing over all this period and not spend it on any other missing children? That is the problem. That's the difference between Peter and I in terms of where we stand on what the money should be spent on, because there's no need to spend any more money because the child won't be found. It's impossible. It doesn't exist. The child disappeared, I believe, the very night it vanished, because the cat of our dogs, and they're reliable dogs, sensed the death in the cupboard. There was the blood spatter on the curtains. There was this and that, the man carrying the thing across the town, the scent of death in the car, I've got it all in my book here. Thank God I got my book back. So the magic book is very important. It was in a book exchange in Le Garde Freinet. And one kindly local gentleman said, "Oh, I'll go and check the book exchange." And there was my book, because somebody had thoughtfully put it in the book exchange. So anybody could have picked it up. Oh, God knows what the information they would have got. Well, my God. Anyway, I've got it back, so it doesn't matter, does it? There we go. You're surprised Madeleine McCann wasn't spotted in Barbados, because Kate and Jerry used this for holiday. I'm not quite sure. I don't know about whether Kate and Jerry McCann holidayed in Barbados or not. Barbados is a lovely place. Sandy Lane, fabulous, wonderful place to go. But I don't know about their connections with Barbados. I've never heard of that reference before, so I don't know. Can't answer your question. Good evening to Tina De Silva. Thank you for coming in. And Yvonne and Expialidocious and Cult Television. Fabulous to have you all here. Cult Television is a wonderful, wonderful friend of mine. Well, you're all wonderful friends, but I do actually know him in reality, because I've spent time with him. So he used to sit at the bar at La Brasserie, a famous restaurant in South Kensington. We all loved La Brasserie, but sadly La Brasserie is no more. It's been empty for 8 years, but it's a great shame and a great loss. There we go. Kyrie says you don't leave your babies all alone. I totally agree with you, Kyrie. Kyrie, sorry. Kyrie, I don't know how you pronounce this. Kyrie, I guess is the pronunciation. Okay. No, they should have been charged with child neglect. They're a disgraceful pair of toe rags. You don't leave your children alone. It's disgusting. Why would you do that? They paid for childcare in the day, but why wouldn't they pay for it at night? Something curious about that. But they were quite happy to go off with the Tapas 9 and, living La Vida Loca and, whatever else they were into, which is alleged. They're not a nice pair. I've met them on a couple of occasions, and that was more than enough, because I think they're very unsavory. And their whinging and whining is pretty awful, but it doesn't mean that this Julia is Miss Innocent. But obviously, as I said last night, Julia has now had 3 of the 4 charges against her dropped. Julia Wandell, or whatever she's called on a Sunday, she might be called Jermaine, or she might be called Justarinian Brooks. She could be called anything. She might just be called deranged. Anyway, whatever she is. Her and Karen Spragg, Miss Spragg, the Spragg woman. The coughing has started, so be warned. be warned, there's going to be intervention in the program, which is not necessary. But if there is, I'll have to stop the program. But anyway, I'll continue for now. So there we go. The Blue Nomad. Yes, thank you. Hello. Yes, well done. Right. Okay. Yes, emerged from the crypt. Yes, that's tends to be what happens whenever I want to do my program. Let's ruin it. But no, I'm very sorry. I won't be interrupted, and I won't be stopping, and I won't be. Anyway, there's nearly 100 of you here now. Thank you very much. Loads of you coming in thick and fast. Loads of you, loads and loads. Thank you. Right. Okay. Yes. So the fake Madeline will be in court on Tuesday. So yeah, the 22nd, she will be in court. I would think that they will just deport her. I think that's probably what they want to do. They just want rid of this lunatic. Keeping a prisoner costs 55,000 a year. It's a very expensive exercise to keep a prisoner. So keeping this stupid child who was encouraged to come to Britain by this ridiculous woman who couldn't even put on a pair of shoes. She was wearing her Crocs and her trackies to go to court. She was in her Adidas or whatever it was. This Karen Spragg from that awful part of Wales that she was from. Oh my God, dreadful woman. Nothing wrong with the Welsh, but this one, look, she looks like a typical Welsh washerwoman. She looks like she belongs in a laundrette. She should work in a laundrette, frankly. And what is she doing? Encouraging a stupid young girl from Poland who's obviously been had a very difficult upbringing. The poor girl obviously is troubled of mind. My friend Ron, the nice Ron. Excuse me. he is a friend of hers, and he thinks she's wonderful. Now, I don't tend to agree, and I'm not going to say I agree with him, but of course there are going to be supporters of hers and people who believe she's got the right to do what she's doing, but she has no right to go around harassing these McCanns. As much as I don't like the McCanns, she has no right to go pestering them, because she isn't Madeleine McCann. The DNA proves it. She wants another DNA test. Well, they don't want to do it, and nor do her Polish parents. There's something weird going on here, yes, but the girl is not the right age. She's 2 years older than Madeleine McCann would have been, so how can she be Madeleine McCann? It's impossible. She's completely ridiculous, and she's an attention-seeking pest, and she tried to do, the Dr. Phil in America and all of that, and that didn't work out. So then she thought, I'll come to England and fly to Swansea. But the Swansea connection is very interesting. She didn't fly to Swansea. She flew to Bristol, but she was aiming to get to Swansea, but she was arrested before she got there. But Swansea was where a mobile phone call between Dr. Mrs. McCann, whatever we want to call her, Kate McCann, the crybaby who loves a vodka shot made with strawberry. She loves a strawberry vodka shot, does our Kate. Our Kate with a quick vodka shot. She loves a bit of risotto with Sigmund Freud, whatever his name was. Well-known, interesting person. Good old Kate. Kate, who loves she loves a NetJet. She used to love going on the NetJets, and she loved spending time with Philip Green and Richard Branson. She's got some real quality friends as our Kate with no quick reminder. She is a disgusting, horrible woman, but they don't need to be harassed by this mad girl. This girl is a complete nutcase. She's a complete lunatic. Poor girl is obviously of unhinged mind. She's obviously got very bad parents in Poland, because they don't have any respect for her either, because they won't agree to her DNA test. So they've had enough of her. It's absolutely ridiculous. Yes. Okay. Yes. Her DNA, as Simon Coates rightly says, and Simon, be sensible today, Simon. We don't want naughty Simon. Don't want to put Simon on the naughty step. Um, it came back as Polish Lithuanian and a bit of Romanian. Well, Madeleine McCann was born in Leicestershire. She's nothing to do with Poland and Lithuanian, is she? So you're quite right there. Well said, Simon Coates. For once, you're right. Yep. No, I like you, Simon Coates, by the way, but you were a bit naughty the other day, and naughty, 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 not nice. So we don't want any more of that from you. Okay. Thank you. I'm the moderator here, and I'm not the moderator because I don't know how well that works, but I am the chief of the municipality, and I'll do as I want. So let's have you behaving yourself. Thank you, Simon. Okay, yes, we love you, Simon, but we don't love you when you're naughty. Naughty, 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 not nice. No, no, no. We're not having any of that. So anyway, I can be a bit of a tyrant myself when I get going. So I will admit, I'm not going to have any naughtiness on my program. Okay, thank you. So I'm not Piers Morgan. I'm not going to storm off and go, oh, I'm having a tantrum. I think Piers Morgan actually is quite entertaining, but, that temper tantrum was a ridiculous thing. Absolutely stupid. There we go. Anyway, you're loving Jim Davidson. Well, Jim Davidson is not someone I love. And my mother cannot stand Jim Davidson. Once when Jim Davidson came into the Carlton Club in St. James's and we were sitting having afternoon tea or whatever it was in the drawing room, my mother said, we are leaving the building now. I said, Mother, what's the problem? And she said, that disgusting man has walked in. And I saw him and I knew full well. And I said, fine, Mother, that is absolutely fine. I totally agree with you. We will not be in the same room as the filthy Jim Davidson. We went to the Ritz instead. We had to leave. Nobody wants to be in the same place as Jim Davidson. Jim Davidson is an apologist for Gary Glitter, the paedophile, for a start. He goes to visit Gary Glitter on the Isle of Wight in the Verne prison. He's had 5 wives. Most of them have been, there's been lots of wife beating going on. He is a deeply unpleasant, racist, bigoted creep. I cannot stand Jim Davidson. Jim Davidson has been bankrupted many times. He's done so many things. But his association with Gary Glitter is what upsets me. Anyone who says that Gary Glitter deserves a fair future. Gary Glitter abused 4-year-old children in Thailand. He did so much to people in England as well, but 4-year-olds. If you're that warped of mind, and the pictures that he had on his computer, the stupid man, he's so dumb, and he hasn't paid back his victims. And Slater Gordon, who are a very fine firm of lawyers because they take on these victims' cases, they have bankrupted him now because he hasn't paid back the 16-year-old whose life he'd ruined. That poor woman, her entire life, she is so damaged, this poor woman. It is shocking beyond belief. So Jim Davidson is a piece of toe rag, a piece of filth, and I don't like Jim Davidson. But yes, Jim Davidson has highlighted all this stuff about Keir Starmer, so we'll come to that shortly. So I suppose, there's quite a lot of you here now, so I suppose we could start to talk about it, and I will begin. Okay, so Sorore P. Freezer, as I call him now, that was another good one I got from someone else. I call him Keir Starmer, the farmer harmer, but that's my own one. And Lady Cloves Horse, his wife, there's been a little bit of a chatter on the social media about, and then a lot of Labour panic about Keir Starmer and, his activities with Lord Ali. Yes, again, Lord Ali comes into the equation. Tony Blair had Carol Kaplan, you remember her, and the lovely boyfriend who was a bit of a fraudster from Australia. Forget his name. It'll come back to me. Starmer, the farmer harmer, seems to have been, not only, harming the farmers and harming the pensioners with his winter fuel allowance cuts and, you know, his alleged injunction. The Labour Party are trying to bury the story, and Jim Davidson has been sharing things, but Jim Davidson has not shared a video. So where's the video? Let's have the video. Let's see what it is. If you've got a video, Jim Davidson, let's man up, grow up, and show the video. Yes, if you want to talk about it, let's have it. I don't like Keir Starmer. Absolutely not. But Jim Davidson is spreading a story that, something has been going on between Lord Ali and Keir Starmer that is nefarious and not pleasant, and it's all a bit naughty but not nice. But don't we need to see the evidence? I think the evidence is important. Yeah, it's really unfortunate that it had to come from Jim Davidson, because Jim Davidson is not exactly Mr. Reliable, is he? Let's be honest. But yes, we all know Keir Starmer is him and his his parents and the donkeys and all of that, the donkey field, planning permission, all that. There's plenty of stories about Keir Starmer that you could say, he didn't prosecute Savile, he didn't do this, he didn't do that. He's not got a great history. At the beginning, I expected him to be someone who was at least intelligent, because he is a barrister by training. So he must have been. He can't be stupid, but it doesn't mean that he's streetwise, does it? But all of this stuff with this Lord Ali, and don't forget, Lord Ali, where did Lord Ali start his career? Working with Robert Maxwell. Sorry, anyone associated with Robert Maxwell and Ghislaine Maxwell, you know what I think of them. They all are, the lowest of the low. You've got Fergie, who I'm going to come to in a moment, Feckless Fergie, who's made a complete prat of herself today. That silly fool, and her stupid husband, who should not be allowed to be seen in public. Lock him up and throw away the key. Throw him in the tower. The grand old Duke of York should be going not up the hill. He should be locked up in the cellar. It would be a much better place for him. He's a totally inappropriate person to have at any event. And I don't know what the king is thinking. The king should have put a stop to that. That was a disgraceful move, and I'm going to come to that. But going back to our old farmer harmer Starmer, yeah, there's a lot of rumors floating around, and everybody wants to know what's going on with him. I'm not going to libel anybody by saying anything, but I think it should be talked about. Why are all these allegations against Starmer? And why did he accept glasses from Lord Ali and clothing? And we're not talking insubstantial amounts of money. And why did Lord Ali pay for his wife's knickers? Underwear. Can you not buy your own bloody underwear? You're the Prime Minister of Britain, and your wife can't pay for her own underwear, her own knickers? Are you serious? What's wrong with you? Very strange, active. Because if you had a brain, you would realize that this kind of scandal would get out, because there are people who you're going to upset. So people would leak that story. Prime Minister can't pay for his own wife's knickers. It's very good. It's a very good headline. It's fantastic. The Sun could have come up with all sorts of things, but Lady Cloves Horse is what she's now been branded. She's branded Lady Cloves Horse, and he's Sir OAP Freezer. He's Keir Starmer, the farmer harmer. Seriously, the man has a huge majority. He should be doing better. And of course, the local elections are coming. in the coming days, and we've got the by-election in Runcorn because of the Labour MP who went around hitting constituents. Clever guy he was. Reform will win there. The Liberal Democrats are not going to do very well there because they're going to be squeezed out. So they could have, if it had been somewhere else, it would have been better for them. But this Reform are going to make the most of this. And yeah, well done, Keir Starmer. You really are not doing very well in your first. I don't know how many months you've been there. You've not been there quite a year yet, but you've really ballsed it all up. But to the public, I say this: if we get rid of Keir Starmer, you don't get Rachel Reeves, Queen of Thieves, who is a disgusting disgrace. What you get is Angela Rayner. You get raving Rayner. She's a ranting, rabid rat. Do you really want that as Prime Minister? Because we're not getting a Conservative Prime Minister, and we don't want Kemi Badenoch anyway. She's bad enough. I want a real Conservative. But we would end up with her by default because she is the shoe-in, because the Queen of Thieves will be blamed for all the downfall of anything because she's really bad. What she's done with this steel plant. Why didn't she get the coal from Cumbria? Stupid woman. Absolutely useless. She's not fit for purpose, but she lied on her CV anyway, as we all know. She's a liar. She's a complete liar. Absolutely appalling woman. So there we go. Okay, so no, right. Right. Any questions on that topic? Any questions? Let's have a few questions, please. You can't stand Fergie. Yep, precisely. Well, nobody can stand Fergie. She's a very bad woman. Absolutely appalling. What's my view on Conor McGregor going for Irish president? I didn't know Conor McGregor was running for Irish president, but I don't think that's a very good idea. No, probably not a good idea. Nope. So there we go. Okay. Right. Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions on that topic? The topic of Keir Starmer, the Farmer Harmer, the OAP freezer. Nope. No, nothing on that. Okay. What do I think of David Lammy? David Lammy, he's going to be very embarrassing when Donald Trump comes on a state visit, isn't it, really? That's about all that needs to be said about him. He's just a total waste of space. He's not really worth bothering about, to be honest. Totally useless, ineffectual Burke. Let's be straightforward on him. There we go. Right. Okay. Thank you for Tina De Silva, who's saying like and subscribe. That's very kind. That's very, very, very nice. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you for all your kind support and donations and time that you spend here and everything else. You're all wonderful and very jolly. As you can see, the weather isn't so bad, but it's not so good. The mast of the boat is not rocking, and nor is the palm tree swaying. So it's not as bad as it was yesterday, but hopefully it will be good tomorrow because now I'm having a little drinks. So there we go. Why would Charles want to convert to Islam? I don't think King Charles wants to convert to Islam. King Charles just tries to be tolerant of everything, and he doesn't always have a very good way of expressing things, and it's upset a lot of people. I can understand why people are upset with his expression, but I don't think King Charles means badly, no. I think King Charles is a good person as opposed to his brother, Prince Andrew, who is a rotten to the core piece of rubbish and toe rag who should be thrown in the cellar, as I said. Debbie says, you brighten our evening. Thank you. Well, that's very kind of you to say. I don't know why I brighten your evening, but I look like Dracula in this light, but I haven't worked out how to do the light. because every time you start doing these programs on here, you don't get to see what you look like until it starts. So I never know what's going to happen. So I don't know where the light's going to angle, because I've got two lights behind me, and this is where they're angled, and there's no way of doing any other light. So there we go. This is an old house, and it's got only plugs in certain places. And anyway, at least we haven't got a grunting Gruffalo making a noise in the background at this stage. So there we are. Expialidocious says Charles had a mistress who he married, not so good, while he was married to Diana. Well, Diana had many affairs. I knew two of the men she had affairs with, James Gilby and James Hewitt. She wasn't exactly Miss Innocent, was she? And, Dodi Fayed and all that went on afterwards. Well, not a good look, really, was it? Diana knew how to play the game. She wasn't Miss Innocent. I'm very sorry the poor lady died in the way she did, but it doesn't mean that she was Miss Innocent. And Queen Camilla is an amazing lady who encourages people to read. And I think that's a fabulous thing. So I'm a big fan of Queen Camilla. And look, my mother and father have had multiple relationships in their lives, and now they are civilized to one another. It could have ended up like that for Charles and Diana, couldn't it? But it didn't, because unfortunately what happened. But who's to blame for that? Mohammed Fayed, who turns out to be a sexual predator, another of the awful, vile people. 111 alleged victims of Mohammed Fayed. And he had the car with a driver who wasn't fit for purpose. So if you want to blame anybody, blame Mohammed Fayed. Andrea says Camilla has earned our respect. Totally agree. She's been wonderful with her reading campaign. I think it's fabulous. Expialidocious doesn't like Camilla. Well, that's fair enough. I don't like Anthea Turner. So, we can't all like anyone. I don't like Lizzie Cundy. There you go. There's two other women I don't like. I don't like Tamara Eccleston. I don't like Gloria Hunniford. I don't like, there's plenty of men I don't like. I don't like Richard Madeley. There you go. I don't like Andrew Tate. I don't like Owen Jones. Well, he's an oddity, to say the least. Right. Okay. Expialidocious does like Kate Middleton. Well, her name is the Princess of Wales now, but yep, I like her. I don't know her, but I believe she's a very nice lady. I've met other members of her family, but I don't know her. You detest the Narinda woman who was on the OK Big Brother. Okay, well, I don't know Narinda, but I've heard of her, yes. I don't know her personally. No view particularly on how bad she is. You don't like the OAP, Judy Finnegan? No, I don't like Judy Finnegan. No, but who likes Judy Finnegan? She is an awful, ghastly woman. I won't go on particularly why I particularly dislike her because of the incident that occurred, but it was a very bad episode, and she shouldn't have been present. And she was told why she shouldn't be present, but she's an absolutely appalling woman. Not of the quality of anybody to have in anyone's home is that woman, Finnegan. Finnegan should be confined to a loony bin. Anyway, she's trying to trademark selling underwear as well. She's another knicker person. So maybe she should team up with Lady Clotheshorse, Keir Starmer's wife. It might be a good idea, don't you think? Why don't we have a brand collaboration between Lady Clotheshorse, Lady Victoria. She's not really called Lady. She's just Lady Starmer. Lady Starmer and Judy Finnegan. You could have bras and knickers, couldn't you? Because Judy's good at bras, and Lady Starmer is good at knickers. So yeah, could be bras and knickers by the two of them. It could be an X collaboration, couldn't it? Absolutely bizarre idea, but just putting it out there. Right. Okay. So Richard talks a load of pants. No, Richard has talked regularly on television about how he wears he goes commando. He does not wear underwear. Richard doesn't wear underwear. He's mentioned that many a time. It's kind of a bit weird as well. Do we have to know this information? I just happen to know a lot about them because they've caused a lot of irritation in my life, those two, on multiple occasions, wherever I've been in the world. It's not just in England I've met them. Oh, God, they're everywhere. You can't escape those two. They are everywhere. I've met them in Cheshire, France, England. England, Cheshire is in England, London, everywhere you go, they're around. They're in America. Oh my God, you can't escape Richard and Judy. They're in Cornwall. They're everywhere. I didn't meet them in Cornwall myself, but they do have a home there. They've got homes everywhere. They've got one here in the south of France. They've got one in London. They've got Florida. They're everywhere. Cornwall. Be warned, wherever you go, the risk of Richard and Judy turning up is very bad. And he actually once said, and I think I've probably said this before, I'm sure I have, he believes that elephants were born evil. He thinks elephants are evil. There's something wrong with that man. And as for her, she's just a drunk. She's awful. And oh no, of course she isn't drunk. She just has some kind of illness. Oh yeah, really? It's what all drunks say, isn't it? Yeah, I like a drink, and I've occasionally been a bit pissed myself, but I'm not as bad as her. That's for sure. There we go. You don't like Katie Hopkins mocking the disabled. Pink Rose. Well, I don't know if Katie Hopkins is. I don't know what she's done mocking the disabled. That's not very nice if she has, but I haven't seen the program, so I don't know. But Katie Hopkins is not a very pleasant lady. I will say from experience, but I do dislike Judy, and that's what we were talking about. Elephants are beautiful creatures. I totally agree. You can never be rude about an elephant. The Blue Nomad says, wouldn't you be drunk if you were married to him? Well, you'd probably have to be drunk to be married, but he called her mummy. That was what he first called her when they first met. She was known as his mummy. They've got a very odd relationship, those two. They are very odd. His comment about elephants says it all. He's a buffoon. Yep, we agree. We totally agree. He said to Bill Clinton, I was once accused falsely, but I was innocent. I was accused of shoplifting and I was innocent, but not like you. That's how he talks. He makes everything about himself. And I do say he's the modern day Dorian Gray. As she gets looking like more and more grim and grimmer, he looks more younger and younger because he puts on all this fake tan and all the rest of it that he does. He's just awful. And Cheryl Bates says he looks like Dorian Gray. Well, I've always been the one that gave that quote. That was my idea long ago, and I'd written about them many times because they do irritate me because of certain incidents that have happened involving my family with them. They're not very nice people. I don't like them. And I think that the way they've treated lots of people, and he is so pompous. as my friend Rex the Sex, who's on Twitter, says, Rex the Sex, follow him and listen to him on Radio Marbella, which is one of his little channels he does. He just says, they're gruesome. They're just a gruesome pair. Lots of people don't like them. They're absolutely awful, absolutely vile people. You just don't want anything to do with Richard and Judy. No, I didn't mean to go on about Richard and Judy tonight, but we've got onto them, haven't we? So, the old drunken couple who go around in their beat-up old Beetle. They've got this Beetle, modern-day Volkswagen Beetle convertible that it's probably worth about £1,000, and they go around Hampstead and get drunk. And do they not think that the cameras are going to not take pictures of them anymore? Because, now what's their thing together? It's just like he's got a beer and she's got a wine, and okay, I've got a wine. I did have a whiskey just before, but I'm having a little bit of wine, and they just want the attention because they know it will make them more money. They're just greedy and grasping. Cheryl says he got away with stealing the wine. Well, no, he was cleared in a court of law, so he's a champagne lifter. He did it by mistake. He didn't mean to take the champagne. It was in the trolley. That's how he defines it. He is the real Alan Partridge. Well said, Jane Hennessy. I totally agree with Jane. Well said. Right. Madeley should be on shoplifters caught on camera. Well, that's an opinion. We can't say that he is convicted of anything, so he is not a convicted shoplifter. But I call him a champagne lifter. He enjoys lifting a bottle of champagne, doesn't he? He also likes apologizing for Ghislaine Maxwell. He thinks that she, shouldn't we feel some sympathy for her, along with Rachel Johnson, another dreadful person. The pair of them together are agony aunt and agony uncle for the Telegraph. Ugh. Could you imagine anything more grim? Disgusting. Those two. Rachel Johnson, a woman who said, "Can't we feel the bat squeak of pity for Ghislaine?" And he was like, "Oh, it's just so unfair the way she's being treated. It's pathetic." These people are appalling, and it's time that what I've said for many, 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 many years is, why don't we give some other people a chance? Let's get some new faces in the media. Let's get some new voices, people who haven't been part of this club. And my friend John Stoddart, who's a photographer, and we've always said these people are part of a club, and they all promote one another. And it came up on Radio 4 this morning that Sarah Vine, that vile woman, another creep, had sent her invite for her book launch or whatever it was by mistake to the wrong people on WhatsApp, and it created a whole diatribe, and she had to start deleting all the numbers. And A.A. Gill said, no, not A.A. Gill, what was his name? Giles Corran, it was, I think, said something like, of course it was sent to London's biggest list of alcoholic, self-promoting creeps, basically, and that's all they are. And that's what that group is. They all protect one another. Evgeny Lebedev is the top of the tree because he controls the Evening Standard, so he's their head honcho. And then you've got, the Johnsons, you've got the Goves, you've got the Elton John, you've got the David Furniture-less. You've got all these people, and they are Stephen Fry. Oh, he's one of the worst. Awful man. And those people are like a little cabal, and nobody else is allowed to achieve. And of course, you've got Alexa Chung, the fashionista. Oh, God, I really love to take her down. She's a dreadful piece of work. You've got those people, and nobody else is allowed a chance. Why don't we give a chance to some other people? Let's have some fresh faces. Let's get some newbies. Let's get somebody else who actually is doing something that's intelligent or wonderful? Why do we have to have the same elite group? And, it's always the same ones. I won't go on about some of the others because I do know a lot of them. And I will admit I have socialized with quite a few of them, but I just don't like the way that they are able to take charge. Why can't we have people who are actually achieving something? Why can't we wake up in the morning and read a piece of news about someone who's actually positive and has done something that adds to the world? Somebody who is decent, who has, done something for good. In the pandemic, I wrote about a child who made marmalade and she won an award, and she got an award from Queen Camilla at Fortnum and Mason for her marmalade. That kind of thing. The two ladies I wrote about who came out of retirement during the COVID and started making cakes of some form. I can't remember what cakes they were, but because I'm not really into cakes, but they then now have a business with a £5 million turnover. Those two old grannies who decided to come out of being grannies and become businesswomen again, well done to them. Let's celebrate them. I don't want to hear about Alexa Chung or Stephen Fry. Stephen Fry is the most boring, awful, ghastly, pompous person I've ever met. All he talked about is Stephen Fry. Why don't we talk about these good people? We need to know about some good people in the world. It's time to have a bit of positive news on top of the negativity. And that's really very important. You can't stand Claudia Winkleman. I agree. Holly Willoughby. Oh my God, the queue jumping bitch. Fern Cotton. I don't really know much about her, but she does look a bit irritating. You don't like Davina McCall. Davina McCall was very polite when I met her, so I will give her a pass on this occasion. But she was very polite. I don't know much about her, but maybe she's a bit irritating. Simon Cowell, they all get they're all up there. It's the same people all the time. Why can't we have a bit of fresh face? It was always Cilla Black and that bloody Cliff Richard. Oh my God, he needs to be thrown out of a tree. He's a total twerp. Can't stand Cliffy. Cliffy is the, oh God, Kitty, as he should be known. Kitty, Kitty. Where's Kitty? Anthea Turner, Lizzie Cundy. Yeah. Oh God. All of them. Kitty, bang, bang. Yep. Robert Peston. Oh God, my father can't stand him, and we don't. He does. My father doesn't like the cycling man, but the cycling man's been very polite to me, but so I won't name him. They're all in the club. Yep, they're all in the club. The club is not to be trusted. You can't stand Carol Vorderman. Well, I don't know her. I've never met her. Noel Edmonds. Oh my God, he's dreadful. He's another one. Lock him up. Throw him down the well. He's a complete psycho. Complete nutcase, that one. Needs help, that one. Have you ever looked up what Noel Edmonds is into? He makes David Icke look sensible. Let's be honest. Boy George. Well, my friend was chained to a radiator by Boy George, so I am a great friend of the victim of Boy George, and he's a lovely Norwegian person, and he went through hell, and Boy George should never have been given any more after that. Disgusting. The BBC and all the rest of them take back Boy George. He's a revolting person. Absolutely sick in the head. There we go. Yeah. No, I Schofield. Yeah. Oh, Schofield. Oh, good old Schofield. And Hugh Edwards. Yeah, there's another one. He was leading the tributes to the death of the late Queen. There he was, and they all knew what he'd been up to. Didn't do anything, did they? Shame on them. This club is a disgusting bunch of people. They protect their own, and nobody else gets promoted. Anyone who dares speak out against them gets cancelled. We all get cancelled if we dare not say, "Oh well, Stephen Fry is not he's a lovely man." If you say he's a lovely man, of course, he's a national treasure. He isn't a national treasure. He's a national bore. The man's goddamn bloody awful. Dreadful. Yeah. Hugh Edwards, Boy George, Noel Edmonds. Yeah. There's a common theme with that lot. Mr. Blobby. Yeah. Yeah, Mr. Blobby. Terrible thing. The Mr. Blobby theme park in Morecambe in Lancashire. I knew all about that scandalous episode because we knew all the councillors involved, because it was obviously in our locality where I grew up. And yes, our neighbours, the farmers, they were very involved in this theme park with him, and there was a lot of profiteering going on. Oh yes, a lot of cover-ups. So yeah, lots of scandal. Yes. Timmy Mallet. Well, Timmy Mallet obviously attacked me as a child. I was shouted at by Timmy Mallet, and my grandmother, Granny Howard, dealt with him very effectively. Timmy Mallet was a very malicious man, and I don't like. Well, I believe he's still alive, but he shouted at me as a child, and he got dealt with. So don't worry, he got a bit of punishment. So we got our revenge on Timmy Mallet. No, don't like Timmy Mallet. No, definitely not. Gordon the Gopher, yeah, was obviously a clue. Yep, I agree with you. Awful. Right. Yes. So you'd like to kick Timmy Mallet in the balls. I didn't quite manage to do that because I was only a little child, and he was shouting at me and swearing at me, and it wasn't very, very nice. But it occurred at Jodrell Bank in Cheshire. Because we'd gone to look at I was interested in astronomy at the time, and I had a telescope, and I wanted to go and look at this thing, and we got there, and he was filming, and he got rather annoyed that I got in his way, and I was a child, and he screamed and yelled at me. He was horrible, horrible, horrible man. I'll never forget Timmy Mallet, that's for sure. I'll never forget Robert Maxwell screaming at me, and I'll never forget Timmy Mallet screaming at me. I did meet Eddie the Eagle. Now, he was wonderful. Now he's a bricklayer, He's a fantastic man. He's a positive. We have to celebrate the positive. Eddie the Eagle is a bricklayer. He's a wonderful man. Met him with Gina Miller. Absolutely great man. I met him at a concert in Sloane Square in London. Absolutely great. So he was quite the contrast to Timmy the Mallet. Eddie the Eagle was Timmy the Mallet. Well, he could bog off. He's awful. Roland Rat. I never met Roland Rat, but I quite liked the idea of Roland Rat. I didn't mind Roland Rat. Your friend was on the Rolf Harris show. I did sit next to Rolf Harris at a dinner once, and his horrible wife. She was very strange. She had like beads coming out of her head. She was completely loony. I forget her name. Olwyn Hughes. She was Welsh and completely deranged. And evil pair. And he was in a curry house in South Kensington. I love a curry, but he was obsessed with curry, and he'd only have curry in prison. He wouldn't eat. He refused to eat anything else. He was completely obsessed with curry for some reason, and he used to go to the same curry house in Maidenhead as Theresa May. I wish I could have a curry. I'd love a curry right now, but unfortunately, there's nowhere to go for a curry around here. It's very sad. But honestly, no. Rolf Harris. Oh, he was evil, awful. And those paintings, they were ghastly. My friends were actually his dealers. I met the people who dealt with him, and they're now worthless, all those stupid paintings. Jeffrey from Rainbow. I do remember the Jeffrey from Rainbow, but it was a little bit before my time. But I remember the pictures, but I didn't really know much of that. Sebastian says his picture, Rolf Harris's picture of the Queen was pretty great. Well, it's disappeared. No one knows where that picture has gone. It's vanished. It's a vanished picture, so we don't know what became of the picture of the Queen by that disgusting man. Jeremy Beadle. I've been to Jeremy Beadle's grave, but I've never met Jeremy Beadle. Jeremy Beadle is buried in Highgate Cemetery, and he's got a wonderful thing with his hand, like the way he did his hand on the grave. So I did visit the grave with my friend Claire Rubenstein, the Rubenstein Cosmetics lady. Had a wonderful tour of the cemetery, and I won't go into why we had a tour of the cemetery, because we had a meeting in the cemetery, as you do, with people who didn't want their phone calls heard. So that was a bizarre day out, in fact. So, but I found Jeremy Beadle's grave, as well as Karl Marx, obviously, and all the others in that amazing cemetery. And it's a must visit, actually. I know who wants to visit a cemetery. Sounds like a weird thing to want to do, but I would say, please take the time. It probably cost you £5 to get in or something, because they do charge a fee. But go and visit the Highgate Cemetery, and go and visit the Brompton Cemetery also. Yes, we've got the noise starting up now. I do apologize for the noise in the background. Anyway, there we go. So, right, okay. Lee Fern went to visit Robin Gibbs's grave today. Okay, well, I don't know. Why did you go to visit Robin Gibbs's grave today? Don't know. George Michael is buried there. Yes, well, that's very true. I won't go into my connection to what I knew about that, but there we are. You're a great George Michael fan. Okay, well, his family were very nice people, and his sister died subsequently on the same day as him, Christmas Day. It's very tragic, isn't it? Yes, I'm very sorry about the noise in the background. I do apologize. There's nothing I can do about it. Won't pay attention, won't take the cough medicine. So what can I do? I'm just at a loss as to what to do. Right. Okay. Well, anyway, let's move on to another topic. I think it's time. Fergie was turning up at the Easter service at Windsor, laughing like a drain, snapped, walking around with Sophie, Duchess of Edinburgh, animated enthusiasm, back in the royal fold, was still viewed as second best, though, to Princess Anne. Broke into laughter. Prince Andrew was putting on a furtive display. She was being bullish in her demeanor, waving him around like some kind of on time cuckoo clock. That's what they said in the Daily Mail. The priest walked off and said, basically didn't want anything to do with her, because, why would anyone want anything to do with this? What is King Charles thinking? Shame on him in that sense, because this woman, she's not a lady, Fergie. She should not be invited anywhere. She's awful. And her husband is dreadful. Awful, awful people. She just wants anything she can get from anyone. And that's what she does. Right. Well, Charles isn't reading the room, says BMRC. Yes, I totally agree with you. Charles does not read the room on this particular topic. His brother should not be welcomed back anywhere. Nobody wants Prince Andrew, and nobody wants Fergie. No. Awful, awful people. The question that should always be asked of Fergie is, did you ever repay the money and other benefits you took from Jeffrey Epstein, the paedophile? That is what she should be asked on every occasion she appears. You know, she's going to be having her little guest appearance, and she's going to be having a little show on Loose Women. Well, I'll be ringing in to Loose Women. If I don't know if you can ring in to Loose Women, probably you can't. But you know, they probably just have their stupid studio audience of, you know, senile pensioners who are just dopes and drips. Awful. That woman is not suitable for television. She's not suitable for anything. That Fergie. Awful, awful. It's all looking rather awkward. And Andrew should not be seen in the public with the royals, says Josie Muldowney. Correct. Totally agree with you. Okay. No one wants has been. Well, yeah. Well, we'll come to Meghan and Harry in a moment. They're next on my list. Don't worry about that. We'll be coming to them. Right. Any more thoughts on Fergie and Prince Andrew appearing in a royal event today? Do you think it was appropriate for King Charles to allow those two people to be in the public? You know, why should they be invited to anything? They should not be present at anything. They are stripped. He's stripped of his royal titles. He hasn't got a royal function. He should not be seen on Easter Sunday. I don't think King Charles has read the room correctly. I'm a big fan of King Charles. I think King Charles is fabulous, a great man, and Queen Camilla is wonderful. But they should have read the room. They failed on this occasion. Don't have those two present. Don't ever have those two present anywhere. They should be put in the cellar. They are disgusting, and she was wobbling around and couldn't even stand up correctly. She's probably drunk. She's a complete lunatic. She's a complete fruitcake. We all know this. She's like a stupid child that never grew up. She's not Peter Pan, but she wants to be. You know, she's definitely not got the qualities of Peter Pan. She's more like, you know, Jeffrey Epstein's best mate. So, you know, she's friends with Peter Nygard, another another pedo. Great friends she's got. She really collects them. There's old Fergie. She loves going and hanging around with a pedo on an island. That's what she's good at. She's been to several pedo islands, so good for her. Wicked, wicked woman. Awful and vile. Yeah, she should step down from anything. She should be not seen anywhere. That would be the best thing to ever happen. No, I don't think Fergie should be seen anywhere. And I don't think Prince Andrew should. He is, you know, the man who couldn't sweat, but his photographs were like, ooh, sweat coming out of his arms. The man who, you know, had an excuse for not having a meeting because he was in Pizza Express Woking. Ooh. He made Pizza Express Woking famous. I believe it's been closed for a while, Pizza Express Woking. It didn't work out well for them having an association with Prince Andrew, did it? So, you know, thanks, Prince Andrew. You wrecked our business. What a great bloke. What a piece of class he is. Why is it that all roads to Fergie and Prince Andrew end in failure? Because that's what always happens. Every single person who goes into business with them, ruined. You know, I know people who've been involved with them. Their lives have been wrecked. You don't want anything to do with those two. They are toxic. They are the toxic twosome. They are they are from hell, those two. Everything they do goes wrong. Awful, awful people. Yeah, Andrew should be making pizza adverts. Well, I don't think that'd end well. But he probably may as well, because what else has he got to do of a day? I believe all he does is hang out with Bernie Ecclestone and eat pizza. Yeah, he likes pizza, supposedly. He's very into pizza, and he's very into Bernie Ecclestone. So, his best mate Bernie, dirty Bernie, another piece of filth, another load of old rubbish. So yeah, I'll keep calling these people out. Well said to you all. For King Charles is ruining the monarchy, you say. I think King Charles overall is doing a good job, but this has been a grave error of judgment, and I don't support this grave error of judgment on this particular occasion. Prince Andrew looks like he eats pizza every day, yeah, because he's very chubby, isn't he? He's chubby checker. He's all right fatty, isn't he? He's the fat fool. He's like the court jester who nobody really wants around. He's not actually funny because he's not nice. He's mean and he's malicious. He belittles staff. I cannot stand people who pick on staff. I was always brought up to believe that your staff you must treat with respect. If you don't treat staff well, you must be a bad person. Anyone who bullies their staff, is a bad person. I've always known this, and every occasion I've experienced it, it has come true. If you bully the staff, you are a weakling and you are a wanker. Let's be honest. I'll use the word, it's an offensive word, but that's what you are, because how dare you treat people, the little people? That's what Leona Helmsley called them. Leona Helmsley said, only the little people pay the taxes. It's disgusting to have people who belittle others like that. And Leona Helmsley deservedly went to jail. She may have thought she was a billionaire and she was a great friend of Donald Trump and all the rest of it, but she didn't get away with it, did she, in the end? So the little people bit back. Well done to the little people, I say. Little people don't always lose. Obviously, most of the time they do, but honestly, people like this, disgusting. He's a bully, that Prince Andrew, and he is horrible. And there is no excuse for the way he behaved. Right, okay. You've got me going on further questions. I can't answer every question at once. I don't know who I've ignored. I don't know what the question was I've ignored. I don't know. Please ask the question again. Thank you. Didn't Princess Diana make her staff miserable? Yes, she was a bit of a temper tantrum person, like Meghan. We'll come to Meghan's temper tantrums with her staff in a moment, because it's a very appropriate moment to come up to that. Yes, okay. Well, we'll talk about Meghan and her abuse of staff. Okay, abuse of staff. I didn't know this was going to be a theme on this program tonight, but anyway, Meghan Markle. I'm sorry for the noises. Berated the gardeners. She was known, my friend Hugo Vickers has talked about this today. She was so rude to the gardeners that the Queen, that was Queen Elizabeth II, intervened, giving a dressing down a reputation of being difficult to work for, screamed at a florist for half an hour after they failed to mention in a post online that the Duchess of Sussex was working with them on a bouquet. Who does she think she is? Hyacinth Bucket? For goodness sakes. The Mail added, she's constantly playing checkers. I'm not even going to say chess, but she's very aware what everyone is on her board. And when you're not, you are going to be thrown to the wolves at any given moment. She's really like a mean girl's teenager in her behavior. She's like a demon when her worms turn. And that is what they had to say about her. So, Meghan is another abuser of staff. Prince Andrew and Meghan, the alleged yacht girl. Connection there. Connection, perhaps. Let's be honest. Right. Okay. You like Hugo Vickers? Well, Hugo's a friend of mine and he's a lovely gentleman. absolutely brilliant writer, fabulous guy. So, yeah, support Hugo, fabulous, absolutely great. But no, we don't like Meghan. Meghan is not in my ballpark. No, thank you. Don't like her. No, thanks. Right. You can't hear any noise. Okay. Well, my microphone is probably filtering out the noise, which is good. Thank you to my microphone. That's a wonderful thing the microphone is doing. Right. Okay. So, yeah, Meghan is another abuser of staff. Prince Andrew and Meghan are two birds of a feather. You know, Meghan comes from the wrong side of the tracks. Let's be honest. You know, her mother, good old jailbird Doria. And then we've got Prince Andrew, who comes from the right side of the tracks, allegedly. And they're both very similar, actually. The pair of those two, they should get together. They'd be ideally suited, wouldn't they? You know. And no wonder Fergie became friends. Was the only royal who really, well, she's not a royal in the first place. She was married into the royals. Why was it she was the first one to befriend Meghan? Because they're all birds of a feather, aren't they, those three? Awful, ghastly people. Disgusting people. They're just filth. They're excrement. All of them. And yeah, Jeremy Clarkson got criticised for saying, chuck excrement at her. I'd say no, it's not. Throw it. He was wrong to say that. But they're all disgusting. They're filth. They're detritus. They're the worst on the planet. Absolutely appalling people. Anyway, thank you for your hello from Liverpool, Marie. Meghan will divorce Harry, says Jane. Perhaps, we don't know yet. Right. Simon Coates has made a comment about Andrew being illegitimate. Well, we'll probably never know the answer to that question. Jean says they are as bad as my abusive husband. I'm very sorry to hear you have an abusive husband. That's very sad to hear. I hope you're okay, Jean. That's not a nice thing to hear. Please go and find you some way out of the abusive husband. That's what have I visited Diddley Squat Farm? No, I haven't. No. Maybe one day I'll visit Diddley Squat Farm. Yes, Jeremy Clarkson's farm. I haven't been there. No. Boy George. Well, no, he is just a disgusting, revolting person. Okay. Right. Okay. So we've spoken about that, and we're 1 hour 16 in, and I'm going to read a little tweet to do with Sharron Davies. So Sharron Davies, has been one of these wonderful campaigners to do with, the whole trans women nonsense. And before my phone runs out of battery, I better read it out because I've got it as a screenshot. Sharron Davies has been tweeting about India Willoughby and all of that, and J.K. Rowling, all that, park runs. She talked about told to scrap the rule that lets the trans women runners outpace women. So she shared a tweet of a letter to, I think it was the Times newspaper, and it comes from Sir Peter Rubin, retired professor of medicine, London SW1. He says, "Sir, one of the most puzzling aspects of the Supreme Court's judgments is that a scientifically illiterate ideology became so entrenched it needed our highest court to state the obvious. If you are born with a Y male chromosome, you will carry it with you all your days. No amount of surgery, drug treatment, self-identification, wishful thinking, or shutting down of reasoned argument will change that settled biological fact. To claim otherwise is a flat earth territory. But many organizations went along with the fantasy all the same. How someone chooses to live their life and present themselves to the outside world is a personal decision that should be met with understanding, tolerance, and respect, but not at the expense of common sense. Sir Peter Rubin, retired professor of medicine, London SW1. Well said to Sir Peter Rubin. I think Sir Peter Rubin is the voice of reason. And I think that's a fabulous thing to think about. What do you think of that? Is Sharron Davies a man today? No, Sharron Davies is not a man. No. Steve R says it's very reasonable. Flower Garden says, here, Sir Peter. Well, it's the truth, yes. Courteous and common sense. And it was written in a very, very civilized tone. And I think that that is something that's agreeable and correct and something we should respect. Yes, totally agree. So there we go. Right. Okay. Right. Well, have we any more questions at this juncture? Any more questions? Otherwise, we will go to do a quiz. Steve R would like the quiz. Yes. Right. Okay. Well, Steve R, who's going to help me with the quiz? Who's going to help with the quiz? How is a certain person? Well, kind of asleep. Let's be honest. It hasn't been a very good day. No, it's been a pretty awful day. But there we are. Right, Tina De Silva. Can you do the tallying, perhaps, Tina De Silva, or someone else, maybe? But I can do it myself as well. But I tend to get it wrong. Steve R says I'm thick. Oh, well, you're not thick. You're quite good at quizzes, I think, Steve R. I think you've got a few points over the. Yvonne has had too much vino to score. Oh dear. Right. Right. Spill your tea to me, said they'll tally as well. So, okay, well, we'll both do it. We'll both do it together. Okay. So, right. With which, question number one, with which sport? You're not having a quiz from last week? No, you've got a brand new one that I wrote today. I'm not going to show it to you for long because otherwise you'll get all the answers, won't you? Then you'll be able to cheat. With which sport was Peter McAvoy associated? Peter McAvoy. It wasn't swimming and it wasn't horse racing and it wasn't tennis. Miss Marple gets the point straight away. Miss Marple, well done. It was Miss Marple. 1 point. You get it. It was golf. So he was one of the amateur golf's most decorated figures. He died on the 6th of April this year. Peter McAvoy. He was very involved in building golf courses and all sorts of things afterwards. Okay, in which year did the Rolling Stones give their one and only performance of Sticky Fingers at the Fonda Theatre in Los Angeles? The Fonda Theatre. Well, yeah, it wasn't 1969, no. It wasn't 1978, it wasn't 1977, it wasn't 1974, it wasn't 1970, it wasn't 1980, it wasn't 1969, it wasn't 1975. Miss Marple gets a second point. Miss Marple is very on the ball tonight. Well done, Jane, as I shall call you. It was, of course, 1971. With what is Gareth Malone associated? What is Gareth Malone involved with? Gareth Malone. Matt Grant, you can have the point. It's singing, yes. Matt Grant gets the point. Matt Grant, a newbie. Singing, of course it is singing. He's a choir master and he's associated with choirs and, the BBC and programs about that. Right. Okay. What is the Morgan Super 3? What is a Morgan Super 3? What is it? Joyce Grove can have the point because it is a car. Yes, Joyce. You can have the point. Of course, it's a 3-wheeled car. Morgan, my friend Charles Morgan was one of the Morgan family, but he had a falling out with his sisters, so he's no longer involved. And many of my friends have had Morgans, and Lady Min has an association with a Morgan, but we won't go there tonight because I don't want to wake her up. What do Sharron Davies, so we're coming back to old Shazza, Sharon, Martina Navratilova, J.K. Rowling, Rosie Duffield, and Professor Kathleen Stock have in common? What are they all connected with? It's not balls and it's not tennis. It's not an OBE. It's not gold medal. It's not nothing. It's not they're all dodgy looking. It's not Olympic records. It's not they all broke records. It's not. No. I suppose I can accept Yvonne Flanagan. They all were involved in talking about trans rights. Yvonne F, you can have the point. They were all cancelled due to being gender critical women. They've all been cancelled by lots of people. Okay, where did Rupert Lowe become a Reform MP for in 2024? Rupert Lowe. Where was the MP for in 2024? And it wasn't Blackpool, it wasn't Peckham, it wasn't Salisbury, it wasn't Prison, it wasn't Clacton, it wasn't Lowestoft. No. Yvonne is close, but we need the full name. Yvonne, you are close. Audrey, you can have it. Audrey gets it because you say Great Yarmouth. There we go. You've got to have the full constituency name to get the point, I would say. How much was the Guy Fawkes oak cut down disgracefully by Toby Carver in a North London pub in April 2025 said to be worth? What was the estimated worth of the tree? It wasn't £150, no. Enigma gets the point. Enigma, well done. It was $1 million. The Sycamore Gap tree was valued at £700,000. Okay, what is Dignitas? What is Dignitas? What is Dignitas? Joyce, you can have the point, so you're in joint first place now. Joyce, it's an end-of-life clinic. It's a Swiss clinic for assisted dying suicide. Okay. What is the name of the Scotland Yard operation that seeks to find Madeleine McCann that was launched in 2011, though she was missing since 2007. The first person to get it is Joyce. So Joyce is now first place. Well done to Joyce. It, of course, is Operation Grange. It has wasted more than £13 million of public money. With which season is lamb, which is what I wanted to have for lunch today, but I didn't get to have. I didn't have to have a proper lunch today. which was a great shame. Primarily associated. What is lamb primarily associated? Right. Okay. Oh, loads of you coming in. The first of you to get it is Miss Marple. Miss Marple gets another point. So Miss Marple's back into joint first. Miss Marple, of course, it's spring. So Miss Marple's quick. You're a fast finger forward. You are. What was the code name of Charles Henry Maxwell Knight, said to be the inspiration for James Bond's boss? What was his code name? It wasn't 007. No, Enigma, you're wrong. It wasn't Q. Audrey gets the point. So Audrey gets a second point. Well done, Audrey. Of course, it was M. He was M. Okay. Right. What is Flora Pilo an anagram for that is used by the Daily Mail once each year? What does the Daily Mail use Flora Pilo as an anagram for? Flora Pilo. Josie Moldovi gets the point. Well done to Josie, a new entrant into the quiz. Josie Moldovi. Of course, it is April Fool. That's what they do. When they write their article for April Fool's Day, they use the author name Flora Pilo. There you go. Okay. What do Le Creuset primarily make? Le Creuset. What do they primarily make? I can accept Lois Petzold, who's come in as another newbie. It's cookware. I'd say very expensive cookware. You know, very middle class iron pots that are very heavy. My mother rather likes the bloody things, but they're very heavy. Okay. Okay. Next question. What does the phrase "on the wagon" mean? Which is what somebody sitting opposite me probably needs to be. What does it mean? I can accept Joyce's answer, Joyce Grove, who takes you into the lead now, Joyce, to be sober, to abstain from alcohol. It derives from prisoners on their way to jail on the back of a cart being granted one last drink in the pub before being charged and restrained inside. There you go. I didn't know that until I looked the thing up. Okay, which country did Argentine forces invade on the 2nd of April 1982? It wasn't the UK. Joyce gets another point. So Joyce has now got 5 points. You're well in the lead, Joyce. Of course, it was the Falklands Islands. Defining moment for Margaret Thatcher. It was a huge thing that happened. Okay, estate agents Knight Frank claimed in 2014 in London that £1 million would have bought 23 square meters of property. How much did they claim you can buy as of 2025? Is it more or less for a starter? What amount? What is the 2023? What is the amount in? What is the amount in 2025? Is it 23 was in 2014? How much? It's not 7. No, it's not 4. It's not 5. It's not 2 billion. No, it's not 69. No. 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 It's not 26. It's not 2. It's not 30, but no. I don't think you're very good at this question. Matt Grant can have the point. Well done. You get a second point. You're at 35. So it's now 34. So it's an improvement for buyers of 43%. So property prices in London are going down very much. There we go. Per square meter. There we go. Lois is surprised. Yeah, no. So it's 34 square meters in 2025. It was 23 in 2014. Right. Okay. What are Gazania firecrackers? What are Gazania firecrackers? What are they? They're not cheese. Miss Marple, you can have the point. Miss Marple gets a fourth point. They are flowers, of course. Yes, they're plants. They're bedding plants. They are with superb weather resistance. They're red, yellow, rose, and cream. Okay, in which area of London was Gareth Williams, a GHQ employee on secondment to the MI6, found dead in a duffel bag? Which area was he found? Which area of London? It wasn't Mayfair and it wasn't Peckham. No, it wasn't Tower Bridge. It wasn't Camden. Technically, Jane Hennessy is correct, so I suppose I have to accept. Jane Hennessy, you get a point with Westminster, but of course it was Pimlico. But it was part of Westminster Council, so I suppose I will have to accept your answer. I will accept your answer. Okay, in what year was the first Monaco Grand Prix held? What was the first year for the Monaco Grand Prix? 78 laps, tight corners, winding streets, Ayrton Senna, Graham Hill, we can go on about the Monaco Grand Prix, but what year was the first one held? It wasn't 1954, no. It wasn't 1968, it wasn't 1953, it wasn't 1927, it wasn't 1978, it wasn't 1982, it wasn't 1921, it wasn't 1935, it wasn't 1066, it wasn't 1924. No. Right. Audrey gets a third point. Well done to Audrey. Of course, it was 1929. Well done to Audrey. Thank you to Audrey. Okay, and your very final question, though it's going to be very hard for anyone to beat our winners here. Which relative of the late Queen Mother sold his deodorant brand Wild to Unilever for £230 million, pocketing himself £39.1 million for his 17% stake in April 2025? He previously worked with his HelloFresh, which was a company I knew of, partner Freddie Ward, who he made £62 million for his 26%. What was the name or what was the surname of this person? You don't probably know his Christian name, but I'll accept the surname. Relative of the late Queen Mother, because of course the late Queen Mother. Joyce Grove gets the point. Well done. Bose Lyon. I'll accept that. Joyce Grove wins with 6 points out of 20. Well done to Joyce Grove. You've done very well this evening, Joyce Grove. Thank you for your participation. Absolutely wonderful that you all participated. Fabulous that you all joined in. And yes, that's that. So well done to Joyce. And yes, it wasn't Janet Evans. No, Janet Evans does polluting drinks. Anyway, right. Okay. At this point, any more questions? Let's have a few more questions from a few of you. Would be nice. Let's have a few questions. Right. Well, yes, Joyce did very well, but so did Miss Marple, who got 4 points, and Audrey, who got 3 points. Well done to Audrey and Miss Marple. Matt Grant got 2 points, and all the others who got 1 point. But they're the stars of the show. Let's be frank. So anyway, before we go for the evening, because I'm going to be going to bed because I really need to sleep because I did not get any sleep at all last night. Let's be having any more questions if you want any more. You want to phone Keith Bishop? Well, please phone Keith Bishop. Yep, please phone him and harass him. And please phone Surjit Singh Clare and be dealing with him as well. That's what I'd like you to do. So, yeah, that wouldn't be a bad idea. It doesn't bother me if you phone him. I'm not telling you to phone him. If you want to phone him, that's your choice. No one's forcing you to. There we go. Is the church corrupt? Well, I think we only have to look at the film called Spotlight to realize what the Catholic Church had as problems, and we only have to look at the state of the Church of England at the moment to realize what problems they've got. So, yep, churches can be corrupt, yes. Did I have any chocolate today? No, I haven't had any chocolate today, no. Didn't even get to have a proper lunch. But that's another story, as we all know. So there we go. Yes, that film was fantastic and horrible at the same time. It was a fantastic film highlighting the good work that the newspaper did to expose the corruption in the church and how bad the bishops and the priests all were and what an awful load of people they were. What do I think of Prince Andrew having a vast teddy bear collection and his staff having to put them back in the right order? Well, it just shows what a spoilt little brat the creep is. He's a creep and he's a cretin and he should be thrown in the cellar along with Fergie. Lock them both up in a cellar. It's where they belong. They belong in a dungeon. They should not be seen in public. And what the king did today was completely wrong. We do not want to see those two in public, ever. Nobody needs to see Fergie and Andrew and her falling all over the place, making a fool of herself. She's just a complete lunatic. She's probably high on cocaine or something. I don't know what she does. The woman's she's completely mad. She's completely ridiculous. Right, okay. Do I like a bath or a shower? I don't do baths. I've never liked baths. I like a shower. I prefer like a seriously high-powered power shower. I love a power shower. Seriously, bit of a blast. Wakes you up, doesn't it? Sometimes I don't mind a cold shower either, but not often. But there we go. People, you like baths, okay? Well, some people like apples, and some people like pears, and some people like apples and pears. You can like a bath and a shower if you so wish. There we go. Right. I'm not going to answer Sarah's question because I think that's a little bit offensive. Right, but I think that's not really a appropriate question for this kind of program. But do I like lamb or beef? Well, I would have loved to have some lamb today, but I wasn't allowed to go for lunch today because that was not allowed. So there we go. You like a scrub in a pond? Okay, well, that's nice. If you want to go and have a scrub in a pond, happy Easter to Hatchy. Yes, happy Easter to you. Do I know Brian Harvey? No, I've never met Brian Harvey. I know who he is, but don't know him. Never met him. No knowledge of him. I need a meal and a sleep. Well, I probably do, but tomorrow I will be spending time with my friends because I'm no longer going to this meeting. I've cancelled the meeting and I've given the vote of proxy to the people, and I'm going to be having some time with my friends, which is nice because that's what they said. They said there's no point you going to this silly meeting because it's all in French anyway, and what's the point? So you may as well not go to this meeting, and it starts at 7:30 in the morning, and you won't be able to get who out of the bed in time to go there. So forget it. Don't bother. So I'm not going to the meeting. Forget the damn meeting. Not going. And they're going to bring prawns and wine and everything else. And they said, we will look after you because you need it because of the situation. So it's very nice that they are so kind and they're making an effort. And they said, just forget about that silly meeting. You don't need to go. So I've given the man across the road his little piece of paper, and he can have his piece of paper and he can do what he wants with it. And that's much better for me because, quite frankly, I am worn out. I'm totally exhausted. I've had no sleep in the last 24 hours and I need to go to bed shortly. But, it's lovely chatting with you all. And it's an Easter thing. I haven't had a proper meal in 24 hours and they're going to bring some nice food because I need to be cheered up because it's been very difficult. I need to get my life back. That's what I'm going to do. I love my life and I want it back. Like Robbie Williams said in this song, I love my life, but I don't need to have a bad life. And that's what I definitely don't need. And yeah, you're sending me a big hug. Thank you. Thank you for your support. You're very kind. I'm not complaining. Don't worry. I'll get on with it. I will get on with my life, but my life has got to be my life. And that's what I want. I don't need any kind of trouble from anybody. And that's totally how I feel. So no, I'm not going to this stupid meeting. Forget this stupid meeting. I don't need to be there. It's nothing to do with me anyway. So it doesn't concern me, so I'm not going. Forget it. It's out of the window. Forget it. Anyway, right. More questions, please. Thank you. More questions from the pleasant viewers. Thank you. Right. And this is the end of my whiskey. That's all I've got. Oh well. There we go. There's the end of the whiskey. Anyway, these kind people are going to bring me a drink tomorrow, and then that's that. So, anyway, I've got a nice place to go back to in London, so that's what I shall be doing. And then I'm going on a little tour of the world, and I've got a project in San Francisco, I hope, because I've just been I've read the 13-page document, and I'm going to read the 135-page document overnight. So, because I never sleep. I struggle to sleep, especially with noise. So I'll read that overnight and then figure out what's going on. I'm coming to Australia. I have no plans to come to Australia at the moment because that's a long, long way away. I don't plan to come to Australia for the moment, but I'd love to come to Australia one day. I do have friends in Australia in certain places, but it's probably a little far away from me. Have I any word on the fake Madeleine McCann? We've already discussed the fake Madeleine McCann. She's got 3 of the 4 charges dropped, so I don't know. I think they'll probably just deport her. Don't know. We'll see what happens on Tuesday. That's when she's in court. So she's in court in Leicester, I believe, at 10:15 a.m. on Tuesday morning. Julia Wandelt is one spelling that is used for her name, but I don't know what her real name is. She's got multiple names. And as for that creep that represents her, he's another shocker. Right, okay. Have I ever eaten a flying fish? I've never eaten a flying fish, no. Not whilst it's flying, anyway. Right. Where am I going next? Well, I think the first stop will be London, and then I'll be going to the West Country, Devon and Somerset, and then I'll be going to Edinburgh and via the Lake District. I think that's my plan. maybe a bit of Cheshire in between. Right, okay. Can you send me stuff? What do you want to send me? I don't know. What would you like to send me? I don't know, but if you want to send me anything, please send it to PJ's, Fulham Road, London. They receive all my parcels currently, so I don't know. If you want to send something, please send it to PJ's at Fulham Road. I know you like sending me books, and I love receiving all the books. So, yeah, books if you want, or anything else. PJ's. You don't need to send many cheddars. Don't worry, I can get those once I'm back in London. But no, if you want to send a book, you're very welcome to send it to PJ's at Fulham Road. But you'll find their website, lovely place. And I'm going to do another dinner there before I leave London. That's what I will definitely be doing. Hopefully with a very famous actor. The actor I was meant to do the dinner with, which obviously was postponed. I'd like to do a dinner with him because I think you'd all enjoy it. And as I've got my notebook here in front of me, I've already prepared all the questions, so I'm ready to go. So, I just have to get the event organized, don't I? It would be a nice thing to do, and it would be a glorious way to meet a few more of you. So, yes, it would be pleasant if we could do that before I leave. But I'll have to speak with PJs, obviously, and see when they allow me to do this, because they could be very busy. We are now in April, so it's a busy restaurant. We'll figure out what's going on. And the lovely Owana, who runs the restaurant, I'll have to speak with her. So we'll see what she has to say. Right. What do I think of Hugh Grant? Not my cup of tea. No, definitely not. A little bit pompous. But he's just bland, boring, not my kind of person. What will happen to somebody? Well, that's not my business. That's not my problem. They have to do whatever they want to do. You watched me on Peter Blexley on the crime show. Did you enjoy it? I hope you enjoyed the program. Jules B. I hope you enjoyed the program with Peter Blexley. Peter is a lovely friend of mine, a great man. He does the Channel 4 Manhunt program. He does Talk TV. He does all the great things. Absolutely great guy. So, yeah, he's been, he's had an amazing career. Right. You'd love a dinner party with me. Okay, Yvonne. Yes, okay. Thank you, Yvonne. Well, I will let you know the date, and you can come to the dinner. There will be a dinner. Would you all have to wear a name badge? You don't have to wear a name badge. No, I don't. I'm not into name badges. I think people can ask my name if you want to know my name is my name. You don't call people darling or all of that. You call yourself by your name, okay? So be yourself. Be your own name. That is a good thing to be. You don't have to be a name badge. Never be a name badge. No. I don't see the need for a name badge. We don't do name badges. It's naff. You can do place settings, of course, because you have to set people strategically, of course, at any party. You can't just have anybody sit anywhere because you'd end up in chaos. So yeah, I would do a place name for the table, but no, you won't need to wear a name badge. No name badges ever at my parties. Never. Right. Yes, I agree with you, Leslie S., but I shan't be commenting. I totally agree with your comment there. That is a perfect comment. Right, no pronouns, no. Well, Burr Island is a lovely place. Yes, I've been there only once. Very interesting place. It's currently for sale for 15 million. It's not worth 15 million, of course, because no one's paid for it. So, but it is a wonderful place. It's I love going on that tractor thing. It was wonderful. It was fascinating to visit, but I only visited it briefly. Yeah, you just stayed in the hotel. It was fab. Right. Okay. Right. Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions before we're nearly at 2 hours? And once we're at 2 hours, we'll close this program down because I think it's time I went to bed. Let's be honest. I had no sleep last night, so it's time I had some sleep. Will I continue to have the COVID jab? I haven't needed the COVID jab again, as far as I'm aware. Does everyone have the COVID jab again? I don't know. Maybe I don't know anything about. Do you need to continue having it? No. No. You're not having it again. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know whether you need to continue having the COVID jab because I haven't had any alert from my telephone device. So I've not had the COVID jab in a little while. No, not in a long while. Stevie D never had one. It was a lie. Okay. Well, yep. Okay. Well, I know lots of you believe that. So you never fell for that rubbish, says Sarah. NW says, I've never had it. Great show tonight. Thank you. Thank you. That's very kind, Yvonne. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say. It was a great show. Right. Okay. Any more questions? A few more questions. We've still got a few more minutes to go. So let's have a few more of your questions. What do I think of the Queen, Camilla? She is an absolutely glorious, wonderful, delightful, fabulous lady who encourages people to read so much better than that ghastly Diana would have been. An absolutely great lady. I love Queen Camilla. Fabulous. Awful, the awful Diana would have been dreadful. I'm sorry Diana died the way she did, but she wasn't a very nice person. She was despicable. But the king has disgraced himself this weekend with his antics of allowing that disgusting Fergie to fall around like a fool and that Prince Andrew to parade around like a pillock. Looking, like the smug pair that they are. That wasn't a good idea. The royal family, they're very up and down, those lot. They can do good things and then they can muck it up. They're very good at mucking it up. I don't know. They're not very consistent, are they? That's what I will say about this bunch of people. At least Princess Anne is a dignified lady who has never put a foot wrong. What's she done wrong? Ever? Nothing. She is the dignified one in the family. She's the one that pulls it together. She's got the brain. The rest of them, I think they're all a bit thick. Stupid people, especially that drip Prince Harry and Meghan, daughter of the daughter of Doria the jailbird. Lovely quality person she is. There we go. So right, okay, next question. Anne's dogs got her into trouble. Well, yes, you are right there. She did have a few problems with her dogs. She got caught for her dogs attacking things, and that wasn't very nice, was it? And that did end up in a bit of a court case. So, yep, you are right. I'm wrong. Mea culpa. I forgot that little moment, but out of all of the things the other ones have done, it's not as bad as them. They're awful. Right. She fought back against the kidnapper. She did. Yes, the man who tried to shoot her, she She did fight back. She was very, very, very. I can't remember his name, but that was an amazing incident on the mall. Amazing incident. Yes, so you're correct there. Well said. Do I like Camilla? Yes, I do like Camilla. I think Camilla's fabulous. I keep saying it. You know, the lady who encourages anyone who encourages people to read is a fabulous person. My father is an elderly gentleman, and he reads every day, and that's what keeps him, going. You if you read, he reads 5 books a week. Keep reading. Don't stop reading. The minute you stop reading, you die. So keep reading. Read all the time. I make notes all the time. That is my life. I write things down. I keep into the books. Don't stop the reading ever. And Camilla is a lady who understands this. So she's a wise, wise lady. Fabulous. Absolutely great. Right. Next question. You had a lamb dinner in a nice pub, says Jean. Okay, you had a lamb dinner. I wish I'd had some lamb dinner in a nice pub. It would have been very nice. No, I didn't get to have that. There we go. You're tucked up. Okay. Well, I'm glad you're tucked up. That's very nice for you. Hope you're having a nice time. You're having a roast chicken dinner. Ooh, that sounds lovely too. I wouldn't have minded that. It's World Cannabis Day. I don't believe in World Anything Day, but the Mayor of Belfast says cannabis should be legalized. Do I agree? I do agree, actually. Yes, legalize cannabis. Legalize cocaine. Legalize heroin. Legalize every drug, and then tax the hell out of every one of them. Then there will be no drug dealers. So I am a proponent of legalization of everything. Legalize the lot. But I say tax the hell out of it. Put the tax on it so high that the drug dealer goes out of business. That gets rid of the evil person. The evil person is the drug dealer. So let's get rid of the drug dealer. Yes, I would legalize cannabis. California's already done it. Doesn't, lots of other places have. So legalize it. Yeah, of course, legalize it. The Mayor of Belfast, well said. I totally agree. I will never be having any of it. I don't do cannabis. I've never tried cocaine. I have seen more cocaine than you've probably seen hot breakfasts, because I was involved with somebody who was a serious drug addict. I'm very, 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 very rich, and was able to spend a lot of money on that stuff, and some of the best quality of it. Cocaine is the middle class disease in London. The Times did a great article about it, and they said it's not wine that's killing these people anymore. It's cocaine, because that's what they do. Every Friday evening, they're all at it. And, they're all on this Ozempic as well. There's another bloody weird thing. And that was all on Radio 4 this morning. And I listened to a very interesting program about that. Seriously. You're not going to stop it, so let them have it. But tax the hell out of it. Make it so expensive it makes their lives difficult. Then many of them will stop. The only way to stop people is to tax them. So tax the hell out of it. That is what I say. Go for it. Yeah. Today is Jean's Psychic's birthday. So I say happy birthday to Jean Psychic. Jean Psychic, happy birthday to you. I'm not going to sing because I cannot sing, so please don't get me going down the happy birthday to you singing route, because I've got no one to accompany me and no one's going to join in. So happy birthday to you. I hope you're having a lovely day and a happy birthday. This is what Nigel Farage does on his cameo. He gets paid to say this. So he gets paid to say, "Oh, happy birthday to John or James or Jackie or whatever." So anyway, there we go. Don't let singing ruin the program. Precisely. I didn't want to ruin my program with that name. And it's Farage as in garage. Yes, completely correct. Well said, Tina De Silva. He is not a nice man, and he's a disgusting piece of toe rag. I can't stand him. Awful, 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 vile person. Farage the frog. His daughters are German. Did you know that? Lamb will be half price on Tuesday. Well, it will be because there'll be lots of it left over because not everybody went out and bought, did they? Because they couldn't afford it because of the fuel crisis. Right. You say garage to rhyme with barge. Miss Marple says, okay. Farage, garage, barge. Okay. I'm kind of getting your point, but I'm not 100% with you. Okay, Farage the Mirage. Or Mirage. Farage the Mirage. Okay. No, he is the scum of the century. He is the Oswald Mosley of our generation. He is not an acceptable person. He's vile. He's vicious. He's a racist. He's a bigot. He's a scumbag. He's a liar. He's a deceiver. He's a self-centered creep. His political party is not a political party. He is a fraud in this sense because his political party is a limited company. He owns 75% plus of the shares of a limited company. Everybody who pays him a membership fee is paying him money. They're not paying money to a political party. They're paying him personally. And that is an absolute scandal. He is a shameful disgrace. He is detritus and he's a stain on humanity. He makes me want to vomit. This Farage, as in garage. He is an anti-British person. He doesn't care about Britain. He cares about his own little pocket, doesn't he? He's a profiteer. He's one of those. He's a clever little... Oh, he rakes them all in. He is disgraceful. Appalling bad man. Yeah, but anyway, that's just my view. So there you go. I do give a little rant. There you go. Farage is your MP. Oh dear, Susie Ashenden. I feel very sorry for you. The people of Clacton, how does he represent the people of Clacton? He's too busy going to America most of the time, isn't he? He's never present in your constituency. What does he do for you? Nothing. He's a scoundrel. I agree. He's a gatekeeper is one thing that someone says here. Right. Susie is in Frinton-on-Sea. I've heard of Frinton-on-Sea. I believe my friends had a caravan park there once, long ago. But I haven't seen those people in a long time. But they did have a caravan park there. Right. Anyway, there we go. So, right. Okay. Well, we're at 2 hours and 6 minutes. So if we have a few final questions, otherwise we will close down and say, happiness galore and all the rest of it. You sprained your ankle yesterday. You're on crutches, Leslie S. Well, Leslie S., I hope you make a speedy recovery. I'm very sorry to hear that. That's appalling to hear. So I do hope you take some rest. Make some effort just to rest. I think that's all you need to do. You need rest. Have I got any horse racing tips for tomorrow? No, I've sadly got no horse racing tips for tomorrow because I have no access to my Ladbrokes account because I'm in this stupid Brexit country that won't allow me to have access to my Ladbrokes account because Brexit has wrecked everything in relations between Britain and Europe. So I cannot look at my things. And isn't that sad? Isn't it sad how we destroyed our relationship with our neighbors so that we could say Brexit means Brexit? What a bunch of idiots we were. Stupid, stupid country, Britain. What a bunch of morons. Thick, stupid country. The borders means the borders. Well, we're still banging on about the boats, aren't we? So what's wrong with that country? Absolutely thick. No, absolutely stupid. Anyway, can I explain where the Bibby Stockholm derived from? It's just a boat. It's just the name of a boat. It's a boat that was used for lots of different things, but it ended up being used for refugees. But it's been used for oil rig workers. It's had other purposes in the past, but its name is Bibby Stockholm, so that's the only meaning of its name. But the Bibby Stockholm will forever now be associated with migrants, I suppose. There we go. Right. I'm not sure who we're on to now, who we're angry with, but some of you seem to be angry about somebody, but I'm not sure who. As for the man called Ron Swanson, I find Ron a very nice gentleman. So, no, I won't criticize Ron. No, Ron is a lovely gentleman. He's always been very polite to me. So, no, I won't be criticizing him. I was on the phone to him yesterday. So, Ron is a person who I have respect for, but everyone is entitled to have differing views, and differing views are available, as the late Queen would say. Recollections may vary of any situation. So I respect Ron. Yes, I do like Ron. So there we go. I've never met Ron in person, but he's been very polite to me on the telephone. I don't like Surjit Singh Clare. He is a racist, bigoted, horrible man who represents the mad fake Julia. I don't like, the other people out there who you mentioned. I've forgotten his name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I think, take as you find. Some people I like, some people I don't. But I'm respectful as much as I can be, and I hope you all are too, because that's the best way to be in life. And if somebody is disrespectful to you, have no hesitation in getting rid of them, because there's no need for disrespect. Susie says, I like you. Okay, well, that's very kind of you, Susie. I like you too. I think you're great. I think all of you are rather great because you all come back here and you're all very nice to me. You put up with my random ramblings and the incidents on this program that we've had. Oh my God. You must be very tolerant people to come back. There's hundreds of you here, but fabulous. Thank you for coming back. Sarah Rainey, you are a gentleman. Well, I thank you. That's very kind of you to say. No, life can be very difficult. It can be challenging, but just get on with it. That's what I do. I get up in the morning and I write my quiz, like I do now. and I'm going to do lots of other things, and I'm looking forward to many great chapters ahead, and that's going to be great. That's what I want to do. I want to be happy again. Happiness is very important, and there hasn't been enough happiness in my world. I can say that for a long time, and it's time to be happy. I think you all know what happiness means. Thank you to Sandy D, who's just sent £1.99. I don't know what £1.99 signifies or why, but thank you. That's very kind of you. It'll go towards the gin and tonic. Susie is a friend of Ron's. Okay, well, Ron is a nice gentleman, so he's been very polite to me, and I hope to meet him in Scotland. And Sandy D is sending money from Scotland. Okay, so thank you, Sandy D from Scotland. It'd be lovely to meet you in Edinburgh, and I really want to go back to Scotland, and I think I'd actually like to go and live in Scotland. I think that's where I want to be. I really, really want to be there. So, yeah. At the end of the storm, there's a golden sky, says Linz. Well said. There always is. When there's always bad times, there's always a golden sky at the end of it. And you're quite right. Thank you. That's a nice quote. Thank you. Enigma would like to have dinner in Edinburgh. Okay, well, we could all have dinner in Edinburgh. We'll do an event. I'll do a dinner with somebody up there. Maybe I can. I doubt I can get J.K. Rowling, but I could try. J.K. Rowling lives in Edinburgh, and I know her, well, I knew her agent, but he's sadly dead. But I could ask. She's done amazing things campaigning against this trans crap. She's done well. Oh, we've got Steve R, who sent £1.99. £1.99 seems to be your new thing, all of you. Okay, thank you for the £1.99. I don't know what that's for, but me in a kilt. No, I won't be wearing a kilt because I'm not Scottish. That would be illegitimate. I could not be doing that. I'm not going to be like some silly American who pretends they're Scottish. I'm not Scottish. I was never born in Scotland, so no, I would never wear a kilt. No, no, not going to happen. Right, okay. Right, well, you all want to meet in Scotland. Okay, well, it may happen. And we'll have to get this man Ron along. I don't know. Some of you might find that a bit controversial, but he lives in Edinburgh himself, so lovely to be there. And I want to go on to all the Scottish islands, and I want to be in Shetland and Orkney and all those places. It'd be wonderful. Have I had my DNA analyzed? No, I don't do things like that. No, not my kind of thing. No, thank you. You once went to the Isle of Skye. Well, I've not been to the Isle of Skye. Who was it? Donald, who with his trousers. Yeah, I went up to the Isle of Skye and and I got high. I came down and I went to London town and Donald, where's your trousers? Yeah, there's the song that goes on about. I don't remember how it exactly goes, but there you go. That was my kind of little take on it. Skye is amazing. I like Mull. I like Iona. I love Staffa. I love all these islands. Oh yes, beautiful Scotland. Scotland is the best place on the planet, without a doubt. I love the beautiful, beautiful water on the west coast. I love the grimness of the north. Scotland is, whiskey, the water of life. Oh, it's got it all. Scotland is the place to be. It's a fabulous, fabulous part of the world. And Edinburgh, a city with with a mountain in the middle of it you can walk up. It's a bit like San Francisco in the kind of way that it's not too big. You can wander around everywhere. You just walk. And I love the walking, and that's what I like. I don't like places London is wonderful in its own way, but it's too big. It's too spread out. It's too all over the place. And there's too many grotty bits. But, Edinburgh is smart and nice and civilized, and you can wander around and you can go up a hill, and then you can be in in the middle of nice, lovely restaurants, and it's very easy, wonderful. It's the simplicity of it is the character, and you've got the coast, and you've got the hill, and you've got the city, and you've got the railway station that makes it easy. It's all simple. You've got the Royal Mile, and you've got all the other things. It's lovely. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just sensible. It's a sensible city. London is a bit too chaotic. It's too big. It's got all these horrible areas that are just frankly grotty. But London has got great things about it. Don't get me wrong; it's fabulous. But its layout is chaotic. So that's how I feel. It's a mess. Yes, precisely. It's a mess. You're going to Edinburgh in May. Okay, right. You're moving to Sydney in September. Oh, sounds like the name of a book. Sydney in September. So Matt Grant, you could write a book, Sydney in September. I hope you write the book. It's a great name for a book. Khan has ruined London. It's no longer British, says Matt Grant. Sadiq Khan is not the only person who's ruined London. Boris Johnson was very much responsible for ruining London with his stupid bike tracks and all that rubbish he brought in. He was pretty useless. He was the most disgusting waste of space as well. The two of them together should have teamed up. Boris the Burke and Sadiq the slaughterer of everything. The pair of them are just vile, awful pair, those two. Red Ken, he was pretty awful. He did a lot of damage. Ken Livingstone, everyone seems to have forgotten about that revolting old toe rag. The Ken the Newt. He was an awful man. Right. Yes, we would vote to stay in Europe. We would have done. Yes. Well, it's too late now. So that's done. That's not going to happen. But there we go. Right. Well, anyway, I don't know what else you want to ask me about, but I think we're running out of questions, and I think we're running out of dialogue, and I think it's soon time that I go to bed. I'm going to go to sleep because I have to get up in the morning because that's what I have to do. And I'm not going to this meeting. That's the end of that. That's finished with. But the lovely friends will be coming round in their boat and bringing something to cheer me up because they realise the situation. So it's very nice of them that they're being kind. And they said, don't bother going to this meeting. It's a waste of your time. You don't need to bother. So forget the meeting. So that's the end of that. So, anyway, did I ever meet James Whale? No, never met James Whale. Don't know much about him, but I don't know. I don't have views on James Whale. Can't tell you if I like him or dislike him because I don't listen to him, so I don't know. I believe he's very opinionated, but so am I. So, don't know. Can't answer your question, I'm afraid, on that one. Next question. Old days at Christmas. What do you want me to talk about Christmas for? I don't know. Sorry, Stevie D. I don't understand your question. Right. Um. Right. I'm a national treasure. Thank you. That's very kind of you to say, T Gun. But I don't think it's true. Um. But thank you for your kind compliment. What my Christmas as a child? I was never really interested in Christmas. I didn't really like Christmas. No, Christmas was difficult for me. It was a time of rows. Let's be honest. Didn't like it. No, not interested in Christmas. I wasn't Grinch, but I just didn't like Christmas because it was a time when you had to put up with people going on about things. I've never been into Christmas, but I understand lots of other people love it. So I say, all of you that love Christmas, I hope you have very wonderful Christmases every year. But no, Christmas is not my thing. No, not my kind of thing. No, no, thank you. Have I done ASMR? I don't know what ASMR is, so I can't tell you if I've done ASMR. I assume I haven't because I don't know what it is. Can't answer your question. Right. How many Easter eggs did I get as a child? I don't know. Can't remember. Another thing. I don't really think about things like that. I don't know. No idea. So, did I BDSM? No, I'm not into that. No, no. Okay. I don't know what this means, so I have no idea. Yes, I can agree with Steve R. Anyway, the noise in the background is indicative of someone needing to go to bed. And therefore I shall have to end the program now because this is too much because you're all hearing it. I thank you for your kind participation. I thank you for your kind, nice, joyful things. You know, here we are on Easter Sunday, and no, it's not. No, I don't agree with Yvonne for a start. Anyway, I wish to say thank you very much to you before I get more noise in the background. So thank you very much.
The noise in the background is someone that's ill.
See, here we go. The shouting has started, and this is what happens.
Someone that's ill.
This is someone who starts shouting.
Registered by the doctor.
This is someone who's shouting at me in my program. So it's absolutely appalling.
Apologize for someone that is ill.
I'm sorry, this person shouting in the background is being abusive as usual, and this is what they do, and they are ruining my program as usual, and this is what they do. They like to shout. So anyway, I'm going to end the program now. I'm going to say thank you very much to you all. You've been very, very kind and patient, and the lunatic is shouting yet again, and it's completely unacceptable. Yes.
Someone that's ill.
It's not someone that's ill. It's someone who is behaving like a lunatic because they've been drinking since 5 a.m. and they're completely pissed. And it's disgusting and disgraceful. So shame on them. Good night and thank you. You've been wonderful. Thank you and good gardening. Goodbye. I will come back to you all later.